Welcome back to the video. We're gonna now just do a little cleanup of some of the smaller trades after we deal with all the big ones. First, let's go with Sacramento, Washington trading point guards. They just traded backup point guards, and I think for both teams it makes sense. Let's go with the Wizards, who already got the better one. They get Raymond Sessions, younger, better scorer. And the reason they got him is because they were afraid that Andre Miller wasn't quick enough to stay in front of the quicker point guards in the league. It's understandable. Which is ironic because they made such a big deal of acquiring Andre Miller a couple years ago, the deadline, because they wanted that veteran aspect. They wanted that proven leader to kind of like solidify their bench and really like be a mentor to John Wall. But you look at their team now, I mean, they've got Paul Pierce. They've got a lot of veteran bigs. So you don't really need another veteran head in the locker room, especially if it's going to be a liability on the defensive end. So they go younger, get Raymond Sessions, who can stay in front of guards and is a great shooter, and a good shooter. And that always can help a team like that, where you have John Wall who's going to be driving and need someone to kick out to. For the Sacramento side of it, they're not going to make the playoffs. The West is just too deep. So you get a guy who new coach George Karl likes and is familiar with, and is a guy that only needs to play some spots behind Darren Collison, assuming Darren Collison is healthy, and just kind of bring that veteran presence, kind of a calm head in the locker room. Maybe see if he can talk to DeMarcus Cousins, keep him from blowing his load every now and then. That'd be nice. Next we'll go to Philadelphia acquiring JaVale McGee. This is an interesting trade, as I think it could prove to be a little beneficial to the 76ers. Because I think if all else, if you just play him out for the rest of the year and waive him or do whatever, I think it could be beneficial because it gives you a preview of what it might look like to have Noel and Embiid play together. What I mean by that is, you can play Joel at the center, you can play Noel. Yeah, you can play JaVale at the center, and you can play Noel at the power forward. This gives you a little preview of what it'll look like next year to have having two bigs play together. It gives Noel a little head start at playing the 4, which he will have to get used to playing next year, playing alongside Embiid. And I think it can give you a little idea of what can work and what doesn't work. So for a team in Philadelphia who I still don't really know what they're doing by trading away Carl Williams, this trade might prove to be beneficial to them as they can kind of tweak with their lineups and figure out what works and what doesn't work. If they choose to look at it that way, not just as we're just going to take JaVale and do whatever, maybe we'll get some cool dunks, maybe we'll get healthy enough to do that. I think it could be a true educational experience for them to really learn more about their team. Of course, that could not be on their mind at all what they're thinking, but I thought that was an interesting idea. Alrighty. Some of the more other minor ones. I think the last ones we got left are Houston. Houston made a pair of trades to kind of like flush out their bench and try to make that last push for the second half of the season. They acquired KJ McDaniels from Philadelphia in exchange for Isaiah Cannon. And they acquired Pablo Prigioni from the Knicks for Alexi Shved. So, Sixers, they need a point guard because they lost Mark Carter Williams. And for the Knicks, they shut down Carmelo. They tried to clean house as much as they could. Probably gave Prigioni a chance to go play for a playoff contender, which is nice of them. But nothing really affects them. For Houston, what it does is it just gives them a change of field. You get a internationally veteran point guard in Paul Prigioni, even though he's only been in the league for a couple of years. You get an internationally experienced and weathered point guard to kind of help out behind Patrick Beverley. And you get Katie McDaniels from Philadelphia, who's had a decent season. A young little scorer. Can bring some youth and energy to that bench. Who knows how he can help out. Something like that. So, all in all, that basically sums up all the trades. So, what does that impact? How does that impact the league going forward for the rest of the season? Well, the interesting thing is for the Miami Heat, I thought it made the biggest impact on them because I thought it made them not necessarily title contenders in the East, but at least made them, they're not going to be an easy out. They're going to be a tough play. So, I don't know if any teams are going to be excited to play them in the playoffs. However, with the recent news about Chris Bosh, and for those of you who don't know, he's been possibly diagnosed with blood clots. They're getting some other opinions, but they could be missed the rest of the season. They don't think it would be life-threatening because there are other players who have played through that. But it's a scary moment for him, also for the team. And if he does end up having to sit out the rest of the season, it does hurt their chances. Because the whole point of bringing in Dragic was it gave you a complete starting five. It gave you a complete starting five while giving up a little bit of flexibility on the wings. Because by getting rid of Danny Granger, you lose that kind of insurance wing player. In case Wade or Dang has missed time, which they probably will. But in return, you got a solid starting five, so you knew what you're throwing out at the beginning of the game, you knew what you're throwing out at the end of the game. So you lose Bosh, you lose your big post presence, you lose your big man scorer, and it hurts your chances. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but they definitely won't be as scary as they were before. Now, as far as the Thunder, I think they were already gonna make the playoffs before this trade. I think they were gonna be the 8th seed. I don't think they'll go any higher than that, but I think they'll be the 8th seed. And I guess, like I said, I was trashing the trade, but it does make them, I guess, a little bit more complete. I think still defense is the issue for them. They've got a couple good defenders, especially in Ibaka and Westbrook, stuff like that. And they play more of a team defense, but I think they'll miss having that extra one or two defenders come off the bench and kind of like take some fouls and rough up some people. I think especially, if anything, it'll make, if it's a Thunder Warriors first round, it'll be a very exciting shooting fest between the two. Everywhere else, I think Portland, with that move, they solidify themselves as a playoff team. They're close to contender status. I don't know if they're quite there yet. Ooh, it's getting quiet. Sorry. Trying to win. Oh no. Not a backer. I got it blocked. So, yeah, I think Portland, I think they solidify themselves as the top half of the team. In the West, sorry, I gotta concentrate real quick to see if I can sneak out a win. Let's see if I can sneak it out. So much concentration. Oh, really? Oh, that hurts. That one hurts. Usually that makes that. Oh, well. So, I think Portland solidifies themselves. I think they will be a top 4 team. They'll be a tough playoff team. I think Utah did what I thought they were going to do in my video. I thought if they trade anybody, it will be Enes Kanter, and which is good. So that means now Rudy Gobert can get more playing time, more flourished. Denver just became really sellers, but they didn't get rid of Wilson Chandler, Ty Lawson, so we just see how they go moving forward. Sacramento, we'll see how Miller can maybe bring a calming sense to the locker room. Washington, maybe by getting Raymond Sessions, they'll be able to be more a complete team and deal with teams on defensive end. Philadelphia, I don't know what they're doing, but maybe they have a sneaky idea with JaVale McGee if they want to do that strategy I talked about. Minnesota gets KG. they get sentimental. Brooklyn gets Thaddeus Young. They're still not going anywhere. Detroit gets Reggie Jackson, who I didn't really talk about, because in this season, I think they might be able to make the playoffs, maybe. But it'll be more interesting next year when Brandon Jennings comes back, because that'll be an interesting power struggle. Phoenix loses a couple point guards and replaces them with a new one because they love point guards. Boston gets a more proven point guard in Isaiah Thomas, while Marcus Smart still tries to develop his game. Knicks just send out players and try to accumulate picks and build for the future. Houston, just a little minor tweak, and hopefully that'll be enough. And they're hoping that will be enough for them to make a deep playoff run. Miami makes the biggest splash, and New Orleans is there. So, that will conclude my trade deadline special. I will apologize. I forgot to change the time of my game. I was going to set it for a little longer so I'd have a little more time to complete. But I am happy that 3-minute quarters seems to be pretty good in order to get these streams down to around 30 minutes, which I want to do in the future for some of these kind of like quick games where I can only talk about one thing, especially if like maybe some other free agent signings happen, some other big news happens between teams. I can just do these little like quick custom games like that and not just stick to my team mode. So, with that, thank you for listening and watching. You should find this on YouTube in a little bit at youtube.com/BrentLuckey, BrentLuckey. And if you want to know more about when these streams are happening and when these videos are posted, follow me at Twitter at BRELuckey. That's BRELUCKEY. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.